Let me be honest with you about something. Have you ever caught yourself thinking, I used to memorize things so easily, but now it feels like my brain is slowing down? A large-scale study by the American Psychological Association surveyed 45,000 people. The findings were striking. 92% of adults over 40 said they felt their abilities were declining with age. 9 out of 10 people walking around right now believe they are quietly fading. But here's what nobody told you. A Harvard Medical School research team tracked 5,000 lives over 20 years. What they found turned everything upside down. Human emotional intelligence peaks at age 62. The steady confidence of a 25-year-old can't touch it. The sharp focus of a 35-year-old can't match it. Something powerful is growing inside you, right? Now quietly, steadily, and without fanfare. We've been so fixated on what we're losing that we've gone completely blind to what's blooming. The people who know this live differently. The ones who don't, they spend their remaining years fighting a battle. They think they've already lost. Today we're going to pull back the curtain on something no one ever bothered to tell you. You've probably heard it before. Your brain hardens as you age. You have to learn while you're young. Society has treated these lines as gospel for generations, and far too many people have swallowed them, whole drawing their own finish lines, capping their own potential. But psychology has a concept most people have never heard of. Two entirely different kinds of intelligence. The first is fluid intelligence. It's the raw engine, the ability to process new information, fast to crack unfamiliar problems on the fly. And yes, it's true. This peaks somewhere in your late 20s to early 30s, then gradually eases back. But there's a second kind, crystallized intelligence, the accumulated weight of knowledge, experience, language, and judgment sharpened over decades of living. This one doesn't fade, it grows. The older you get, the stronger it becomes. That feeling you have lately, I'm not what I used to be, that's just your fluid intelligence shifting. But society only ever talked about that part. The part that gets louder with age, the part that matters more. Nobody mentioned it. You're not declining. You're changing shape. The first ability that sharpens with age is emotional regulation. Think back to your younger years. Your boss said something dismissive at work. The rest of the day was gone, consumed by that one moment. You lay in bed that night, replaying it, unable to let it go. But somewhere along the way, something shifted. The same kind of thing happened, and you just let it roll off. Well, that's how it goes. You moved on without a second thought. That wasn't resignation. That was your brain rewiring itself. Research from Stanford University's psychology department, led by Professor Laura Carstensen, found that as we age, the brain naturally gravitates toward positive emotional input and filters out the negative. Her team called it the positivity effect. At 20, anger could hijack your entire nervous system. At 50 or 60, the same trigger lands differently. The emotional swing narrows. The recovery is faster. Harvard's research confirmed it. Emotional regulation peaks at 62. And people who score high in this ability show greater satisfaction in relationships, stronger professional achievement, even better physical health. If the things that used to rattle, you simply don't anymore, that's not giving up. That's your brain maturing, evolving. The second ability that sharpens with age is pattern. Recognition, the ability to read people and situations before anyone else can. You've had this experience. You meet someone for the first time and something feels off. You can't explain it. But later it turns out your gut was exactly right. When you were younger, you might have chalked it up to luck. It wasn't luck. Neuroscience researchers at MIT found that the ability to accurately read other people's emotions and intentions peaks between the mid-40s and early 50s. Here's why. Over a lifetime, the brain accumulates thousands upon thousands of social encounters. It stores the patterns. What once required conscious analysis eventually becomes instinct. What we call wisdom or reading the room, that's the psychological reality of it. The subtle signals that sharp young minds miss. Even with all their logic and energy, you already know them. Not in your head, in your bones. No education can teach this quickly. Only time can build it. Now for the part that surprises most people, many of us notice that words don't come as fast. There's a half-second pause before the right phrase arrives. And we think, my mind is slipping, but a longitudinal study conducted over 20 years by researchers at UC Davis tells a completely different story. Vocabulary and verbal expression peak between the late 60s and early 70s. Let that land for a moment. The speed at which words surface may slow, but the depth of language, the precision, the weight, the ability to find exactly the right word for exactly the right moment, that peaks in the second half of life. Look at the literary record. Tolstoy finished Resurrection at 72. Kant published Critique of Pure Reason at 57. Goethe completed the second part of Faust at 82. These weren't accidents. Decades of experience and hard-won understanding had worked their way into the language itself. If you find yourself pausing before you speak, choosing more carefully, saying less, but meaning more, that's not your mind slowing down. That's your language growing up. Now here's where it all comes together. Emotional regulation, pattern recognition, depth of language, these don't grow in isolation. They compound each other. When your emotions are steady, you observe more clearly. When you observe more clearly, you know what to say and when to say it. And when your language is rich and precise, you can deliver that insight in a way the other person can actually hear. That's the feeling you get around a seasoned mentor, a trusted elder. There's a quiet steadiness to them. They don't move fast. They move accurately, unshaken, perceptive. And when they finally speak, it lands. Research from the American Psychological Association found that the ability to resolve complex social conflict improves steadily after 40. The judgment of someone in their 50s produces measurably higher outcomes, on average, than that of someone in their 20s. If you've started saying, I just knew more often than you used to, that's not complacency. That's wisdom taking root. So how do you build these abilities faster? More fully, you can. Here are 3 things you can start today. The first is keeping an emotion journal. Before bed each night, write just 3 sentences. The strongest emotion you felt that day, the situation that triggered it, how you responded. Research shows that putting emotions into words activates the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for emotional regulation. Don't write, I got angry and held it in. Write it specifically. During the meeting, my idea was dismissed. I felt humiliated. I quietly left the room. That level of detail, practiced night after night, builds the kind of emotional depth that only deepens with age. The second is brief conversations with strangers. A few words with the barista, a quick exchange with the cashier, small talk with the cab driver. These moments are the finest training ground for pattern recognition that exists. Every new person, every unfamiliar situation adds another data point to your brain's unconscious database. It gets sharper each time. It doesn't matter if it feels awkward at first. That awkwardness is the training. The third is reading out loud. 5 to 10 minutes a day. A book you love, an article that caught your attention, anything. Read it out loud. This single habit stimulates vocabulary, sharpens pronunciation, and strengthens your ability to process sentence structure all at once. Words you'd normally skim past in your head land differently when you hear yourself say them. Start with 1 page tonight. Your language will deepen from this moment forward. As you've been listening today, maybe a thought crept in. Is it too late for me? It isn't. Right now, at this very moment, something is growing inside you. No one may be watching. No one may be applauding. But the years you've lived have made your emotions steadier, your vision sharper, your words heavier with meaning. Aging is not only subtraction. Some things can only be built by time, and those things are already in you. One small ask before you go. Starting today, instead of saying, I'm not what I used to, try saying this instead. I'm becoming a different kind of person. That single shift in how you see yourself can paint the rest of your life in an entirely different light. You are not declining. You are walking toward a peak you've never reached before.